Have you ever met a slave? I have. I was standing on the front lawn of Martin Luther King's childhood home with a group of children that I was leading on a tour. And I noticed a lot of scarring, wounds, as if they had been whipped yesterday. And as we were walking up the stairs, about to enter Dr. King's home, the chaperone tells me, they're slaves. And they escaped from Haiti to come to Atlanta and connect with Dr. King's legacy. I thought to myself, in 2010, slaves? But I thought slavery ended a century ago. But that's how the past connects to the present and the power of historic sites. This is where those kids wanted to come, right here, that one location. It reminded me of what William Faulkner talked about. Famous American author, one of the greatest of all time. A kid from Mississippi, as he stood on the grounds of Pickett's Charge, one of the most famous military attacks ever, at the battlefield at Gettysburg, where I worked. And I stood on those same grounds, looked over those same fields of Pickett's Charge. And Faulkner, as a kid, as a Southern man, would look over those same fields, standing where I stood, and write the following. For every Southern boy 14 years old, not once, but whenever he wants it, there is the instant when it's not yet 2 o'clock in that afternoon in 1863. It's all in the balance. It hasn't happened yet. This time, maybe this time, with all this much to lose, then all this much to gain, to crown with desperate and unbelievable victory, this desperate gamble. That's the power of standing on a historic site, where I stood myself. That's what he spoke about at the battlefield at Gettysburg. Recently, I was on a panel with General Paul Tibbets of the Air Force. The panel focused on the legacy of the Manhattan Project that created the atomic bomb, the world's first nuclear bomb, during World War II. And he spoke of his grandfather who was the pilot of the Enola Gay, which flew over Hiroshima to drop the first atomic bomb in world history. His grandfather was sitting with President Harry Truman, he told me, and Truman asked him shortly after the bombing, "What do you think of our decision to bomb Japan to end the war?" And General Tibbets said, "We did what we had to do." To which Harry Truman replied, "Well, if anyone gives you any trouble, you tell them that it was my decision." That's the power of history, a combination of pain, of death, but also of victory and hope. For those kids at the Martin Luther King home, for Faulkner reflecting back at the battlefield at Gettysburg, and for the pilot talking with President Truman, reflecting on the world-changing mission that he had accomplished. And that's why I wrote my book, Creating Space for Conflicted Histories. Because while these sites may have pain, controversy, conflict, debate, there are many layers and many perspectives, and they provide a forum unlike any other for us to reflect, to engage, to interact with the past, and ultimately to understand that the past and the present connect with power. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.